Social media is an industry with over 3.8 billion people now, surrounded by those who want to share their life stories, their lessons, and more. It's also a place where people can make exceptional careers on, and today I want to give you some advice that maybe most aren't willing to give you. Let's get into it. What's going on, everyone? My name is Andy and I appreciate you taking some time to watch this video on the channel dedicated to helping you grow a successful business through marketing, social media and entrepreneurship. If you'd like to check out any of my social medias, all the links will be down below. I would love to have you a part of the family, and if there's anywhere you want to talk with me, I would love to chat. I mainly focus on informative and educational content related to social media to help you push your boundaries and grow your discoverability. If that's something you're interested in, be sure to check them out down below. I want to give a quick thank you to two new patrons, Jackson and Ellis, for supporting me on this journey. It really means so much, and the links will be down below for that if you want to find out more. With social media becoming this sort of norm of our generation with the internet and more, it's no wonder that people want to be successful on there. It's what so much is surrounded by, we all use it, and it's just present constantly. It has a massive influence on us and everything that we tend to do, where we get information, where we learn, how we educate ourselves and more. I mean, right now you wouldn't be watching this video if you didn't want to learn. Am I right? There are often a few things that people probably wouldn't tell you so much about social media growth and what it sort of takes to do so, or how you can go about doing that. So let's get something I like to call the hierarchy of content. And most of you will probably know what a hierarchy is, with the likes of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And this is just one I created to give you a better understanding of content within itself. At the top of people on social media, we have those called the leaders, where they've basically made massive strides within their personal life or business to be at the top of their game. They're known by mainly everyone, and it's just they stand way above the rest with anything they do, and they're extremely successful in their life. In the middle, we have the people I like to call the expanders. These are the ones that push for different things that happen within social media and content creation, and is mainly filled up with the majority of those who have started. They've went on their own journey. Some are a lot further along their journey than others, but most of the people here are the ones that influence what happens and what goes on within content creation. And finally, at the bottom, we have the fixed people. Now, the fixers are those who have also started their journey, but really struggle to get out of an area of how to improve and how to grow their brand or their social media as a whole. Now, again, I've categorized a lot of people into a very small area, and this hierarchy could go to a lot of different fields and subsections, but the fixers are the ones who tend to complain a lot more as to why others are doing better than them, and the ones who can't actually get out of what they're doing when they're not willing to learn. Now, for me, guessing solely based on this hierarchy, I would suggest that most people are in the fixed or expansion area. And sadly enough, a lot of them are in the fixed area, purely because they're willing to blame everyone else other than themselves when it comes to taking responsibility for making this a success. If we talk about leaders in this category, we think of someone who stands out from the crowd way above everyone else. This could be actors, actresses, filmmakers, anything like that. Someone who is really at the top of their game and no one really competes. Now, if you think about the content that they actually create, most don't really need to do anything and will still get insane engagement with what they do. This is purely because they are at the top of that hierarchy of content. They have established themselves in this world of content, in this world of social media, that it really doesn't matter what they do. Some do incredible things, don't get me wrong, but they don't really need to in order to gain a lot of success within what they're doing. Now, the difference between those and the leaders and then the rest of the areas is that you haven't done that. You've not got this area. You have proven to people why anything you can create can just instantly become great. And this is where we talk about creating as much value as we possibly can. In order to do this, you need to provide one of three things: information, entertainment, or news. Now, you can dabble in all three of them if you would like, but more often or not, when you're wanting to become known in a world that has 3.8 billion people on social media, doing all three of them is extremely challenging. Creating the best type of content for all of them, again, is something that's very hard to do. If we take a really simple example of saying someone like Lionel Messi, who's the best football player in the world, and dabbled into baseball, basketball, hockey, rugby, and tennis all at the one time, would he be as good at football as he is today? Simple answer is no. Now, there's nothing wrong with getting good at a lot of different areas. When you become someone who is good on social media, you also become someone who's good at productivity, time management, marketing yourself. It's not to say you do not learn valuable skills and have a wide range of angles that you can shoot from when becoming successful in one area, but targeting a certain place and a certain threshold of category is going to allow you to stand out way further from the crowd, a lot easier than trying to do everything and anything. And that's where most of the fixed mindsets get stuck. See, nobody wants their time wasted. No one's going to sit there and think, yeah, you know what? Yeah, you can waste my time. That's perfectly fine. Finding content that people actually want to consume is the challenging part. It's the way that we don't know how to do that that stops us from ever pushing to get to the next stage. By figuring out who you can actually provide value to, will allow you to know what content you're wanting to create and why you're wanting to create it. This is why understanding what you're doing and why you're actually doing it is way more important than just sort of doing stuff and not having a clue where you're going. Yes, as Gary Vee said, it's important to just pick up the phone and say something because that's what teaches you where you're actually meant to go. But if you don't do that and you don't pick up the phone and you don't work on stuff and you don't post things, you're never going to learn where you're meant to go, why you're meant to go there, or what value you're actually trying to bring. If we keep the example of Gary Vee, a lot of people would say that he covers such a wide variety of areas that he doesn't focus on one area, but he does. He's still in the category of valuable information. That is what he does. He provides that for people. And when you understand that he is in that subcategory of doing so, you realize that he has found that passion and that message so clearly because he's created so much over such a long period of time that he's developed himself as that leader in the category. Consistency alone now isn't enough. You can't just turn up every day and not provide any value whatsoever to anyone for someone to continuously pay attention to you for years to come. You need to prove to someone why their attention matters to you and why they should actually be paying attention day in and day out to the content that you're providing. If all you say is good morning to someone and that's all you ever do for the rest of your life, eventually someone's going to get bored of that because you're no longer providing any value for them other than saying good morning. Now, there's nothing actually wrong with saying good morning to people. I would always recommend it. Be kind, be generous, and just say good morning. But it doesn't have to be the sole thing you do. Unless you become the person who literally just says good morning and that's all you ever do for the rest of your life. I mean, go for it if you want. Fair play to you. But most aren't going to do that. Social media moves so fast now and people can get things in the blink of an eye. You need to get someone to stop at your content, look at it and think, you know what, that stands out. Now, the way that you can do this is to consume on everything that you do. Conversations that you have with people, with family, with friends, with lecturers, with anything that you do, you can learn from and create content with. This is why picking up that phone and just creating is the best thing that you can do at this moment in time. To stand out on social media, you have to work on your social media. You have to fail so many times and do terrible pieces of content to learn how to do better next time. If we take a quick look at when I first started creating sort of more infographics on Instagram to now, you can see a massive difference as to the quality and information that people are actually getting by consuming that type of content. This is because I kept up the consistency as well as try to provide more value with the content I wanted to do within the information-based category. Now, have I got a long way to go? Of course I do. We can always learn, and even leaders in the hierarchy of content need to learn consistently on how to stay up to date with what they're actually doing. Yes, at some points they can grow exponentially higher than you could ever do that by doing absolutely nothing, but you've got to prove to people why your value is actually worth paying attention to. This is why educating yourself and really trying to push yourself further is the best thing you can do. And a great example I heard on the Mindset Mentor podcast was that you need to take yourself and your knowledge outside of your area that you enjoy to be in. There was a story told about a fast food restaurant where they wanted to take themselves out of the fast food industry to see if they could learn anything from other places. So they decided to go to banks to see if they could learn anything from what they were doing. Now, the first few banks, they learned absolutely nothing. They didn't give any value. But right before they were about to leave and go back to their fast food restaurant, they saw a bank that was installing a window at the side of their building. They stopped to ask what they're doing and they said they were installing a window to offer drive-thrus for people in the bank to get their cash easier, allow the system to flow a lot more simply. This person took it back to the restaurant and started to work on implementing drive-thrus within that location. If I'm not mistaken, McDonald's actually bought over that eventually to implement it into their own business, and we all know how that went. And it's become a worldwide thing when it comes to fast food restaurants. See, this is an example of so many that taking yourself not only within your industry but out with is going to educate yourself further and actually allow you to implement to be a standout in your area. Another extremely informative pieces of information that I ever got given was that your brand cannot be solely defined by your personality, because that's not what it all should be surrounded by. I used to believe that my personality would be the sole thing that would help me stand out. And although that is true to an extent, there has to be more than this to actually be someone who people look up to. I didn't understand my own morals, the own message that I was trying to spread, my own value, and I couldn't even describe that to anyone if they'd actually asked me. This is exactly why I took some time for myself to figure out that message, as that's often a thing we never do. Take time away for ourselves to figure out who we actually are, what value we hold to people, and what message we're trying to spread. Now my message is to help content creators grow their discoverability through social media marketing and entrepreneurship. I say it at the start of all of my videos because that's what I stand for. That's who I am, that's the message I try to spread, and that's the thing I can offer to people. Yes, I'm in different areas when related to news, information, and entertainment with all of these. However, its sole focus is bringing you information to educate yourselves further and to provide more value in the place that you want to do, to eventually grow a successful business that you and I are trying to build. Yes, your personality is the only unique factor that most people have nowadays. But when you implement that with the message that you're trying to spread, the content that you deliver, and how you actually go about delivering it with your personality, that's when your brand is defined with who you are, the value you give, and why people are actually going to watch you over someone who doesn't bring that to the table. No one's going to watch someone who creates a vlog one day and then puts up a Red Dead Redemption 2 video and then does a makeup video all in the 1 week, because they don't even know what value they're trying to provide. How does anyone else? And it's not to say that people who do this is completely wrong. I'm just giving you an example of how this message can become very unclear to people who are wanting to follow along with your journey. Because if you don't know who you want to be, no one else is going to do that either. You are the most important factor in all of this. So understanding you as a person should be a priority. Most sort of put that to the back and don't really think about it for a long time, and including me, I've done that for way too long. Start looking for content that you enjoy to make and that others enjoy to consume as well with what you're putting out. It's going to give you a clearer picture on the sorts of content that you can move forward with, that's going to work for you, your brand, your personality, your business, the value that you're trying to provide, and more. Trying new things, taking yourself outside your comfort zone are all ways that you can provide more value in social media and actually start to grow in a way that you want to grow, to find your true target audience, to find the people who you want to connect with, and to provide the value and content that you always wish you could. As I said, look at different industries and how they all work. How do they operate? How does someone stand out in that industry, and how can you bring that over to yours? Everyone has a different way of growing. Everyone has a different way of being successful. And there's not one way. There are so many out there that you can do that. You've got to fail 10,000 plus times, but you only need to get it right once to be successful. This is going to take time. This is going to take dedication. I'm not going to say this is easy, but start moving out of that fixer mindset and that hierarchy of content and start becoming an expander. Move into that area and really start growing that mindset in your content that you're trying to provide. If you'd like to check out my social media content, I post informational and educational content related to social media and helping you grow your discoverability. Thank you to all the patrons who help continue to support me on this channel with everything that I'm doing. It means so much more to me than you can know. Have a fantastic day.